Rodney Childers is out at Spire Motorsports, effective immediately. NASCAR unveiled the format for this year's AllStar race, including an interesting caveat, plus the NASCAR Garage 56 documentary. We finally know when it's going to release. Welcome back to Break Hard. I'm Matt. We're going to hop right into the news today because a massive NASCAR Cup Series news bomb dropped on Wednesday morning from, well, me actually. I broke the news that Rodney Childers and Spire Motorsports have parted ways effective immediately. A shock development. When I heard it, I didn't believe it. I checked around. Yeah, confirmed. It is in fact happening and did happen because on Wednesday, Spire Motorsports announced that the two parties had gone their own way and seemingly a mutual split here between the two of them. Now, things haven't been great for Rodney Childers and Justin Haley so far this year in the Cup Series, and Rodney's stay at Spire is essentially just the Grandpa Simpson meme, walking in and walking right back out the door, because that's what happened here. 9 races, an average finish of 20.2, and Rodney Childers is now off to see whatever his next adventure is in motorsports. Sounds like he's going to take some time off. We'll talk about his statement in just a minute here, but overall, surprising news. Right? They brought in Spire Motorsports, has a ton of money behind them now. Obviously with TWG Global, there's a lot of money there. They want to be a top tier team in the NASCAR Cup Series. They want tier 1 support from Chevrolet. They basically want to be what Stewart-Haas Racing was to Hendrick Motorsports back when they were all in the Chevy camp. That's what Spire Motorsports wants to be, and they're not afraid to spend money. We've seen that. They're buying new things. They're upgrading facilities. They're doing everything they can to become a better team, and getting Rodney Childers was viewed as a bit of a coup last year, right? I mean, this is not an organization that has won many races outside of one, honestly, and pairing him up at the time, it seemed like he was going to pair up with Corey LaJoie. Obviously, we know that didn't happen. Pairing him up with Justin Haley seemed like it was always going to be an uphill battle, and this isn't a slight at Justin Haley. He's not catching a ricochet here, but when you think about it, Rodney Childers went from working with Kevin Harvick, then Josh Berry, and then Justin Haley. Rodney Childers can do a lot in a race car, and it just never seemed like he and Justin Haley, gelled for the most part, is kind of what it seemed to come down to here, if you read between the lines. But the two parties did release statements on Wednesday. Spire's statement said NASCAR is an ever-evolving sport and the path to improvement isn't always comfortable. The break in the Cup Series schedule gave us a chance to evaluate where we are as a program. We took the opportunity to discuss the best path forward for everyone involved, and the team and Rodney agreed that it would be best for us to part ways. Rodney has worked at the highest level of our sport for 20 years, and he knows what it takes to win a championship. With that in mind, we collectively acknowledge challenges with the team dynamic. Having the right combination of talent is just as important as the results on track. As we move in a new direction, it's not lost on us that Rodney has been an invaluable asset to our organization, and he will continue to be for others in the sport. Very good statement by Spire Motorsports there. And Rodney has been really, really valuable to that team this year. They've had a ton of speed when they unload the off the truck, and a lot of that can probably be credited to Rodney Childers and what he has done over there. I will say this, if you're employed at Spire Motorsports and there is a break coming up in the NASCAR Cup Series schedule and you have a day off, or a week off, maybe 2 weeks off, you might be sweating. You might just want to keep your phone nearby, because it seems like now the last 2 breaks that we've had, people are getting let go. It happened to Corey LaJoie during last year's Olympic break. Happened to Rodney Childers now. At least there's no more breaks in the Cup Series schedule until the end of the year, so I think everybody's going to be safe over there. Rodney Childers also put out a statement of his own, and he said, I know this is a shock, but also know that not everything works out perfect all the time. That's how life works. This is just one of those things that just wasn't working for either of us. I appreciate my time at Spire working with JH and the entire 7 team. We did a lot of good that is yet to be seen, and I wish them the best in the future. Also want to say thank you to everyone at Chevrolet, Mr. H, and everyone at Hendrick Motorsports for my time working with them again. It was a pleasure. Thank you, NASCAR, to the officials, and most importantly, the fans, for your support. For me, I'm going to take a little time, focus on the important things like my family and friends, and honestly, just see what the racing world holds for me next. I know the man above will lead me in a direction that is best for me. So yeah, seemingly just not a culture fit over at Spire Motorsports. And honestly, to read between the lines of both of these statements, it didn't seem like he and Justin Haley were just on the same page there, which, I mean, you can see by the results. That's not what Rodney wants. It's not what Justin wants either. So going forward, it sounds like it's, they have 2 crew chiefs on staff there at Spire. Obviously, Ryan Sparks is still a part of Spire Motorsports. He was with Justin Haley for the final 7 races of last season in 2024. They also have Matt McCall on staff over there as well, who was the crew chief for Brad Keselowski. So they have some guys with recent crew chiefing experience on the Gen 7 car that they can absolutely slot into that position. And we'll see who they select for his permanent crew chiefing role going forward. But yeah, breaking news, it's kind of intoxicating. It's pretty exciting, actually. You're sitting on this for a while, and it's just like, oh my gosh, when do I press send? When do I press send? And then finally, you confirm everything, and you're like, oh, I'm going to press send on this, all to have the Athletics say that Jordan Bianchi confirmed it. Yeah, thanks, guys. Timestamp. So still beat everybody to it. Still a pretty little cool moment for me to have as I was hopping into actual work meetings this morning. On Wednesday, NASCAR announced the format for this year's AllStar race, and it got longer. It will now be 250 laps as opposed to 200 laps last year. And when you have to put out a graphic that's got all this information and fine print on it, I wish it would just be like, hey, we're running 250 laps. We're going to do breaks at lap 100. We're going to do a break at, lap 220. And then we'll just have a 30-lap shootout until the end of the race. Okay, fine. I can live with that. But they have a couple of different little things that went into it here. 50 laps longer, break around lap 100. And there's now the option for a promoter's caution around lap 220. What is that? Well, it's basically exactly what it sounds like. It's for the promoter to throw out a caution to bunch the field back up and try to get an exciting finish. But here's the thing. If a natural caution happens between lap 200 and lap 220, then there can be no promoter's caution. However, if that doesn't happen, the promoter caution can happen anywhere between lap 200 and lap 220. It has to come out before lap 220. So there's that little caveat that's been thrown in there as well. We'll see how all of that works. Obviously, on Saturday, there will be the race for the All-Star Open, 100 laps. Top two finishers advance, plus the fan vote advance as well. So 3 additional drivers will join the field for Sunday's All-Star race. How is qualifying going to work? Well, it'll be 3 laps plus a mandatory 4-tire stop on lap number 2. The total time will set the grid for the qualifying heat races. Those will be 2 60-lap races. That will set the grid for the actual All-Star race on Sunday. Pit stall selections will be determined by the results of the pit crew competition. So the best pit crew, the team that wins the pit crew competition, they get to select the first pit box wherever they want that to be. Worst, well, you get the last pick. So that's just how it's going to work going forward. Overall, like I said, we probably didn't need all the little fine print and everything like that. I think if you were just like, hey, we're going to just throw these 2 comp cautions at these laps, people will be able to, deal with it. It's just the fact that it's the All-Star race, and I'm not going to get worked up over comp cautions or promoter cautions or anything like that. What I was really hoping to see is that NASCAR is going to trial a 750 horsepower package for this race, but ultimately, that wasn't going to happen, which does bring me to an interesting little caveat. Bozy, on his new podcast, I absolutely recommend that you go find that, listen to it, watch it, whatever, however you want to consume it, because it was really good, really informative. He said that NASCAR approached the teams and said, hey, we're thinking about doing the All-Star race as a run what you brung type of race, meaning that as long as it passes the safety standards, you can do whatever you want, aerodynamic-wise and suspension-wise. Try to make it an interesting, throw a different little twist on the All-Star race here. And teams ultimately elected to not take them up on that offer, citing the cost of it and really no applicable reason to do it outside of the All-Star race, because it wasn't going to be on the cars for the rest of the year or anything like that. And it bummed me out. I understand it from a team standpoint. Absolutely understand it. You're talking about bolting on other pieces to these race cars, doing a lot of engineering work for a race that does pay $1 million. Don't get me wrong, but everything that you're going to learn doing this doesn't apply to anything else that you're going to do the rest of the year. So it's really just a waste of money for every team outside of one, essentially, that is going to win the All-Star race. On the other hand, I'm actually pretty excited that NASCAR was willing to try to do something like this. The only thing I do wish is that they would have been like, you can run on whatever horsepower you want to bring to this, as long as it's under X amount. Hell yeah. Let's try that out as well. But the fact that they were willing to let teams show up in kind of, T-Rex, the car, like Hendrick Motorsports did with Jeff Gordon back in the day, and be like, hey, perfect world, what would you do? Here's a plain canvas for the most part. Obviously, you can't change the body structure and everything like that of the car. But hey, why don't you do this? Why don't we see what we can do here? It would have been super fun. Would have been really cool from a technical aspect. I don't know how many actual fans would have cared about that outside of, me, you, and the other diehards that might be nerdy about it. But it would have been exciting, and I'm kind of bummed that we're not going to get to see it now. But still kind of excited that NASCAR is even willing to, toss that idea out there. Just maybe try 750 horsepower now. Maybe, right? We still got time. We got a month. So actually, we don't. We got under a month. Dang it. I forgot about what day it was. Regardless, still cool. And last but not least, we finally have a release date for the NASCAR Garage 56 documentary, the one that has been kind of just sitting around in purgatory for 2 years. And everybody's like, when's it going to come out? When's it going to come out? June 12th on Prime Video. You can watch American Thunder, NASCAR to Le Mans. And I am super excited for this. I cannot wait to pound Bud Heavies, which I don't drink, ask what the F is a kilometer, Blair Freebird, and watch this glorious documentary about NASCAR going over to France and absolutely dog walking the GT field down the Mulsanne Straight. Now, I know everyone's going to be like, well, they didn't have to adhere to the same rules as the GT class. In the words of Stephen A. Smith, we don't care. We don't care at all. We're just excited about it because it was a really fun night, really fun day, rather, 24 hours on social media for it. Came out of it with a ton of viral clips, people asking what the F is a kilometer, this big bodied stock car just thundering around the French countryside, making every single person happy. Garage 56 car brought everybody together. It didn't matter if you were a Toyota fan, Ford fan, Chevy fan, Dodge fan, did not matter. Everybody was super psyched to see it. The Garage 56 car united this country better than anything I've ever seen in the last, pause. Since like 2002. We'll just go with that. It was cool. It was really, really cool. So I'm glad that this documentary is finally coming out. People are like, why did it take 2 years to come out? Well, Prime produced it. Prime's the one that's putting it out and distributing it. Guess what? Prime has NASCAR Cup Series coverage this year, and having original content is another great way to get NASCAR fans to sign up for your service, watch the races there, and now you have this Earnhardt documentary plus this Garage 56 documentary as well. It makes sense from a business standpoint. So I'm excited that's coming out. Finally, we can see it. Obviously, I've got the Garage 56 diecast resin model, back here. Still broken. I got to fix that. It's sitting on my desk over there to fix the splitter, but whatever. It'll be fine. It'll eventually get fixed when that time comes. So let me know in the comments what you think about Rodney Childers and Spire Motorsports parting ways effective immediately, the NASCAR All-Star Race format, and the Garage 86 documentary coming out. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok @BreakHard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook @BreakHardBlog.